Hello, ladies, and welcome to our new Bible reading series. I'm Cindra Enlow from HeavenlyPlace.com, and this year, as we read through the Bible, we'll explore God's incredible story of love and redemption. If you're looking for a Bible reading plan that's simple and doable, this is it. So let's get started and discover the heart of God together, one chapter at a time. Hello, ladies, and welcome back to our one-year Bible reading plan. This is week 34, day 5. And our scheduled reading for today is 2 Kings chapters 25, 2 Chronicles chapter 36, and the book of Habakkuk, chapters 1 through 3. So in our last reading, we saw the sorrow of Jerusalem's fall through the Psalms that we read, the Psalms of Lament, and the history that we read that was recorded in 2 Kings. And we see that God's people have reached the end of their rebellion. But even in their grief, they cried out, and God still listened. They knew who to turn to. And so today we'll finish the story of Jerusalem's fall and jump into a conversation between one frustrated prophet and a faithful God. In 2 Kings 25 and 2 Chronicles 36, we read the final account of Judah's downfall. Nebuchadnezzar returns to destroy what was left, burning the temple, breaking down the walls, and carrying off more people into exile. Only the poorest are left in the land because they didn't care about them. They wanted to take the finest. The kings of Judah have refused to listen to the prophets, and now the warnings Jeremiah gave came fully true. But as always, the Bible doesn't end in despair. It shifts to hope. And in the final verses in 2 Chronicles, we're reminded that God stirred the heart of King Cyrus of Persia to allow the Jews to return and rebuild. God's mercy outlives God's judgment. And then in Habakkuk, this is just a small book. In chapter 1, the prophet cries out to the Lord how long will I call for help and you will not hear? But of course, God always hears. He's watching injustice and evil go unpunished. He thinks, and he's frustrated. But God responds to him, and he says, I am doing a work in your days that you would not believe if told. He reveals that he will use Babylon to carry out justice. But that doesn't ease Habakkuk's concerns. Still, the prophet just keeps pressing on about it. And in chapter 3, Habakkuk shifts from complaint to confidence. He remembers God's past faithfulness and ends with a declaration of trust. He says, though the fig tree should not blossom, yet I will rejoice in the Lord. I will take joy in the God of my salvation. So even in Habakkuk's trouble, he paused to remember the Lord. And this is a key to gratitude. Things are going to go wrong in our lives, but we need to pause and remember who's in control and his purpose in our life. And that purpose is always for our good and his glory. And here's where we see the heart of God in this reading. We see that he doesn't silence our questions. In fact, he meets us in them. He allows us to ask him questions, to question what's going on. But we need to remember who he is. And even when we don't understand his timing, he invites us to trust his heart, trust who he is, trust his purposes. Okay, ladies, let's get started on our reading today. 2 Kings 25, 2 Chronicles 36, and Habakkuk 1 through 3.
The second book of Kings. Chapter 25. Now in the 9th year of his rule, on the 10th day of the 10th month, Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, came against Jerusalem with all his army and took up his position before it, building earthworks all round the town. And the town was shut in by their forces till the 11th year of King Zedekiah. Now on the 9th day of the 4th month, the store of food in the town was almost gone, so that there was no food for the people of the land. So an opening was made in the wall of the town, And all the men of war went in flight by night through the doorway between the two walls which was by the king's garden. Now the Chaldeans were stationed round the town, and the king went by the way of the Arabah. But the Chaldean army went after the king, and overtook him in the lowlands of Jericho, and all his army went in flight from him in every direction. And they made the king a prisoner and took him up to the king of Babylon at Riblah to be judged. And they put the sons of Zedekiah to death before his eyes, and then they put out his eyes, and chaining him with iron bands, took him to Babylon. Now in the 5th month, on the 7th day of the month, in the 19th year of Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, Nebuzaradan, the captain of the armed men, a servant of the king of Babylon, came to Jerusalem, and he hid the house of the Lord and the king's house and all the houses of Jerusalem, even every great house, burned with fire, and the walls round Jerusalem were broken down by the Chaldean army which was with the captain and the rest of the people who were still in the town, and all those who had given themselves up to the king of Babylon, and all the rest of the workmen. Nebuzaradan, the captain of the armed men, took away as prisoners, but he let the poorest of the land go on living there, to take care of the vines and the fields. And the brass pillars in the house of the Lord, and the wheeled bases, and the great brass water vessel in the house of the Lord, were broken up by the Chaldeans, who took the brass to Babylon. And the pots and the spades and the scissors for the lights and the spoons, and all the brass vessels used in the Lord's house, they took away. And the fire trays and the basins, the gold of the gold vessels and the silver of the silver vessels, were all taken away by the captain of the armed men. The 2 pillars, the great water vessel and the wheeled bases, which Solomon had made for the house of the Lord, the brass of all these vessels was without weight. One of the pillars was 18 cubits high, with a crown of brass on it. The crown was 3 cubits high, circled with a network and apples all of brass, and the second pillar had the same. And the captain of the armed men took Sariah, the chief priest, and Zephaniah, the second priest, and the 3 doorkeepers, and from the town he took the unsexed servant who was over the men of war, and 5 of the king's near friends who were in the town, and the scribe of the captain of the army, who was responsible for getting the people of the land together in military order, and 60 men of the people of the land who were in the town. These Nebuzaradan, the captain of the armed men, took with him to the king of Babylon at Riblah, and the king of Babylon put them to death at Riblah in the land of Hamath. So Judah was taken away prisoner from his land. As for the people who were still living in the land of Judah, whom Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, did not take away, he made Gedaliah, the son of Ahikam, the son of Shaphan, ruler over them. Now the captains of the armed forces, hearing that the king of Babylon had made Gedaliah ruler, came with their men to Gedaliah at Mizpah, Ishmael, the son of Nethaniah, and Johanan, the son of Kareah, and Sariah, the son of Tanhumeth the Netophathite, and Jazaniah, the son of the Makathite, came with all their men. Then Gedaliah gave his oath to them and their men, saying, "Have no fear because of the servants of the Chaldeans, go on living in the land under the rule of the king of Babylon, and all will be well." But in the 7th month, Ishmael, the son of Nethaniah, the son of Elishama, of the king's seed, came with 10 men and made an attack on Gedaliah, causing his death and the death of the Jews and the Chaldeans who were with him at Mizpah. Then all the people, small and great, and the captains of the forces, got up and went away to Egypt, for fear of the Chaldeans. And in the 37th year after Jehoiakim, king of Judah, had been taken prisoner, in the 12th month, on the 27th day of the month, Evil-Merodach, king of Babylon, in the 1st year of his rule, took Jehoiakim, king of Judah, out of prison, and said kind words to him, and put his seat higher than the seats of the other kings who were with him in Babylon. And his prison clothing was changed, and he was a guest at the king's table every day for the rest of his life. And for his food, the king gave him a regular amount every day for the rest of his life. The Second Book of Chronicles. Chapter 36. Then the people of the land took Jehoahaz, the son of Josiah, and made him king in Jerusalem in place of his father. Jehoahaz was 23 years old when he became king. He was ruling in Jerusalem for 3 months. Then the king of Egypt took the kingdom from him in Jerusalem, and put on the land a tax of 100 talents of silver and a talent of gold. And the king of Egypt made Eliakim his brother king over Judah and Jerusalem, changing his name to Jehoiakim. And Necho took his brother Jehoahaz away to Egypt. Jehoiakim was 25 years old when he became king. He was ruling in Jerusalem for 11 years, and he did evil in the eyes of the Lord his God. Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, came up against him, and took him away in chains to Babylon. And Nebuchadnezzar took away some of the vessels of the Lord's house, and put them in the house of his God in Babylon. Now the rest of the acts of Jehoiakim and the disgusting things he did, and all there is to be said against him, are recorded in the book of the kings of Israel and Judah. And Jehoiakim his son became king in his place. Jehoiakim was 18 years old when he became king. He was ruling in Jerusalem for 3 months and 10 days, and he did evil in the eyes of the Lord. In the spring of the year King Nebuchadnezzar sent and took him away to Babylon, with the beautiful vessels of the house of the Lord, and made Zedekiah, his father's brother, king over Judah and Jerusalem. Zedekiah was 21 years old when he became king. He was ruling in Jerusalem for 11 years. He did evil in the eyes of the Lord, and did not make himself low before Jeremiah the prophet who gave him the word of the Lord. And he took up arms against King Nebuchadnezzar, though he had made him take an oath by God. But he made his neck stiff and his heart hard, turning away from the Lord, the God of Israel. And more than this, all the great men of Judah and the priests and the people made their sin great, turning to all the disgusting ways of the nations. And they made unclean the house of the Lord which he had made holy in Jerusalem. And the Lord, the God of their fathers, sent word to them by his servants, sending early and frequently, because he had pity on his people and on his living place. But they put shame on the servants of God, making sport of his words and laughing at his prophets, till the wrath of God was moved against his people, till there was no help. So he sent against them the king of the Chaldeans, who put their younger men to death with the sword in the house of their holy place, and had no pity for any, young man or virgin, old man or white-haired. God gave them all into his hands. And all the vessels of the house of God, great and small, and the stored wealth of the Lord's house and the wealth of the king and his chiefs, he took away to Babylon. And the house of God was burned and the wall of Jerusalem broken down. All its great houses were burned with fire and all its beautiful vessels given up to destruction. And all who had not come to death by the sword he took away prisoners to Babylon, and they became servants to him and to his sons till the kingdom of Persia came to power, so that the words of the Lord, which he said by the mouth of Jeremiah, might come true, till the land had had pleasure in her Sabbaths, for as long as she was waste the land kept the Sabbath, till 70 years were complete. Now in the first year of Cyrus, king of Persia, in order that the words which the Lord had said by the mouth of Jeremiah might come true, the spirit of Cyrus, king of Persia, was moved by the Lord, and he made a public statement and had it given out through all his kingdom and put in writing, saying, Cyrus, king of Persia, has said, all the kingdoms of the earth have been given to me by the Lord, the God of heaven, and he has made me responsible for building a house for him in Jerusalem, which is in Judah. Whoever there is among you of all his people, may the Lord his God be with him and let him go up. The Book of Habakkuk. Chapter 1. The word which Habakkuk the prophet saw. How long, O Lord, will your ears be shut to my voice? I make an outcry to you about violent behavior, but you do not send salvation. Why do you make me see evil doing, and why are my eyes fixed on wrong? For wasting and violent acts are before me, and there is fighting and bitter argument. For this reason the law is feeble and decisions are not effected, for the upright man is circled round by evildoers, because of which right is twisted. See among the nations, and take note, and be full of wonder, for in your days I am doing a work in which you will have no belief, even if news of it is given to you. For see, I am sending the Chaldeans, that bitter and quick-moving nation, who go through the wide spaces of the earth to get for themselves living places which are not theirs. They are greatly to be feared, their right comes from themselves. And their horses are quicker than leopards and their horsemen more cruel than evening wolves. They come from far away, like an eagle in flight rushing on its food. They are coming all of them with force, the direction of their faces is forward, the number of their prisoners is like the sands of the sea. He makes little of kings, rulers are a sport to him, all the strong places are to be laughed at, for he makes earthworks and takes them. Then his purpose will be changed, overstepping the limit. He will make his strength his God. Are you not eternal, O Lord my God, my Holy One? For you there is no death. O Lord, he has been ordered by you for our punishment, and by you, O Rock, he has been marked out to put us right. Before your holy eyes sin may not be seen, and you are unable to put up with wrong. Why, then, are your eyes on the fools? Why do you say nothing when the evildoer puts an end to one who is more upright than himself? He has made men like the fishes of the sea, like the worms which have no ruler over them. He takes them all up with his hook, he takes them in his net, getting them together in his fishing net, for which cause he is glad and full of joy. For this reason he makes an offering to his net, burning perfume to his fishing net, because by them he gets much food and his meat is fat. For this cause his net is ever open, and there is no end to his destruction of the nations. Chapter 2. I will take my position and be on watch, placing myself on my tower, looking out to see what he will say to me, and what answer he will give to my protest. And the Lord gave me an answer, and said, Put the vision in writing and make it clear on stones, so that the reader may go quickly. For the vision is still for the fixed time, and it is moving quickly to the end, and it will not be false. Even if it is slow in coming, go on waiting for it, because it will certainly come, it will not be kept back. As for the man of pride, my soul has no pleasure in him, but the upright man will have life through his good faith. A curse on the cruel and false one. The man full of pride, who never has enough, who makes his desires wide as the underworld. He is like death, he is never full, but he makes all nations come to him, getting all peoples together to himself. Will not all these take up a word of shame against him and a bitter saying against him, and say, A curse on him who goes on taking what is not his and is weighted down with the property of debtors? Will not your creditors suddenly be moved against you, and your troublers get up from their sleep, and you will be to them like goods taken in war? Because you have taken their goods from great nations, all the rest of the peoples will take your goods from you, because of men's blood and violent acts against the land and the town and all who are living in it. A curse on him who gets evil profits for his family, so that he may put his resting place on high and be safe from the hand of the wrongdoer. You have been a cause of shame to your house by cutting off a number of peoples, and sinning against your soul. For the stone will give a cry out of the wall, and it will be answered by the board out of the woodwork. A curse on him who is building a place with blood, and basing a town on evil doing. See, is it not the pleasure of the Lord of armies that the peoples are working for the fire and using themselves up for nothing? For the earth will be full of the knowledge of the glory of the Lord as the sea is covered by the waters. A curse on him who gives his neighbor the wine of his wrath, making him overcome with strong drink from the cup of his passion, so that you may be a witness of their shame. You are full of shame in place of glory, take your part in the drinking, and let your shame be uncovered. The cup of the Lord's right hand will come round to you and your glory will be covered with shame. For the violent acts against Lebanon will come on you, and the destruction of the cattle will be a cause of fear to you, because of men's blood and the violent acts against the land and the town and all who are living in it. What profit is the pictured image to its maker? And as for the metal image, the false teacher, why does its maker put his faith in it, making false gods without a voice? A curse on him who says to the wood, Awake, to the unbreathing stone, Up. Let it be a teacher. See, it is plated with gold and silver, and there is no breath at all inside it. But the Lord is in his holy temple, let all the earth be quiet before him. Chapter 3. A prayer of Habakkuk the prophet, put to Shigionoth. O Lord, word of you has come to my ears, I have seen your work. O Lord, when the years come near make it clear, in wrath keep mercy in mind. God came from Teman, and the Holy One from Mount Paran. Selah. The heavens were covered with his glory, and the earth was full of his praise. He was shining like the light. He had rays coming out from his hand. There his power was kept secret. Before him went disease, and flames went out at his feet. From his high place he sent shaking on the earth. He saw and nations were suddenly moved, and the eternal mountains were broken, the unchanging hills were bent down. His ways are eternal. The curtains of Cushan were troubled, and the tents of Midian were shaking. Was your wrath burning against the rivers? Were you angry with the sea, that you went on your horses, on your war carriages of salvation? Your bow was quite uncovered. Selah. By you the earth was cut through with rivers. The mountains saw you and were moved with fear, the clouds were streaming with water, the voice of the deep was sounding, the sun did not come up, and the moon kept still in her place. At the light of your arrows they went away, at the shining of your polished spear. You went stepping through the land in wrath, crushing the nations in your passion. You went out for the salvation of your people, for the salvation of the one on whom your holy oil was put, wounding the head of the family of the evildoer, uncovering the base even to the neck. Selah. You have put your spears through his head. His horsemen were sent in flight like dry stems. They had joy in driving away the poor, in making a meal of them secretly. The feet of your horses were on the sea, on the mass of great waters. Hearing it, my inner parts were moved, and my lips were shaking at the sound. My bones became feeble, and my steps were uncertain under me. I gave sounds of grief in the day of trouble, when his forces came up against the people in bands. For though the fig tree has no flowers, and there is no fruit on the vine, and work on the olive comes to nothing, and the fields give no food, and the flock is cut off from its resting place, and there is no herd in the cattle house, still, I will be glad in the Lord, my joy will be in the God of my salvation. The Lord God is my strength, and he makes my feet like rose feet, guiding me on my high places. For the chief music maker on chorded instruments,